Now obviously, it is pretty much common knowledge to all Indians on how an Indian dad is. But I thought of making an explanation video just in case you encountered one or God forbid, became one. For reasons unknown, the image of an Indian dad is always associated with a middle-class balding man in his early 50s with grey hair poking out of his mustache. Of course, this is highly stereotyped because the true image of an Indian dad is a middle-class balding man in his early 50s with grey hair poking out of his mustache and his Brazilian chest. Naturally, there are young dads too. And the only difference between the old dad and the new dad is while the former has given up all hopes on his children, the young one still believes that his kids will be IAS officers someday. If you still have trouble identifying an Indian dad, just look for an angry, frustrated, constipated face with his comb, few ₹100 notes and his mobile phone lurking from his phone pocket, and bingo, you've passed the test. When a guest comes in, you might occasionally hear him joke about how he constantly obeys his wife and lives in eternal fear from her, while he orders her to make a cup of hot tea for the third time of the day. Sugarless, of course. Now, the authority of every Indian dad is inversely proportional to that of his son's age. Meaning, by the time his son is 16 or 20, expect brief episodes of Avengers Infinity War to take place in between the kitchen and the hall. The relationship with his daughter, however, is directly proportional to her age. Only this time, it isn't authority, but blind faith. To the point where, if at the age of 50, his daughter asks him to break that FD he has been keeping for the past 20 years just to get premium access to the backstage of an Alan Walker concert, he will do so without batting an eye. The most likely job an Indian dad is expected to have is that of a government salaried employee on the verge of retirement after working in the same company for the past 25 years. If all dads had a logo, it would be a long open register with the tagline "Since 1977" written underneath. If you find someone who apparently says he has been working for less than 5 years, leave everything and run immediately. That guy is not a dad, but a serial killer in disguise. His favorite time is the first week of every month, where he will dress up, go to the nearest branch he has an account in, and wait in line to withdraw his monthly salary or fill his passbook that has 2 entries in it. Once he is done, he shall renew his life insurance policy or check his PF account just to make sure the whole concept of insurance and provident fund still exists. For physical exercise, the Indian dad is restricted to morning jogs or evening walks to the vegetable market with his wife. To be honest, these never make a difference, but the children will keep stressing on how important it is just so the son finally gets to watch porn in his dad's computer and the daughter can talk to her newly made boyfriend in her mom's phone. The other redundant form of exercise he follows is yoga. Again, don't expect him to disappear his 13-kilo stomach or reduce any kind of stress, but don't be surprised if you hear him exhale heavily for 30 continuous seconds while you're trying to concentrate for tomorrow's exam. A typical Indian dad has no food preference and will eat anything. Except anything with oil, fat, sugar, meat, salt, spices, snacks, American, Italian, definitely nothing Chinese, fast food, cold food, hotel food, street food, packed food, and of course, anything more than half a cup of that sweet, sugarless tea.